everyone. Welcome back once again to Actual English with me, Jennifer Clyde. Today it's already time for lesson 32. Now, yesterday we talked about in the mornings, daily routines or daily activities you do on a regular basis, rather on a daily basis. Today let's focus on things you do during the day, possibly at work. So today's topic is a day at work. So what do you do? What is your day like at the office or at work? Now, what is the first thing you do when you arrive at work? And then the second thing, third thing, and how do you finish your workday? Let's focus on talking about that. Okay, are you ready? Let's get started.
Don't you just love to work?
You can't be serious.
I'm a bit of a workaholic, so really I enjoy what I do.
People call me a bit of a perfectionist, which is not a good quality to have when you're constantly working. Yeah, I start my day anytime I want, basically, except for during the middle of the day where I actually have a live show to go to. I need to get there on time, but apart from that, I'm constantly on the go. Lots of translation work that I do at my desk or on the bus or anywhere like that. Yeah, so...
So you don't have a daily routine?
No daily routine as such, but I do need to get a coffee on my way to the radio station when I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about your parents? Do they have kind of a normal work schedule?
Oh, my dad has a normal work schedule. It's 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. Back in Australia, it's spot on. They get there at 9 and it finishes at 5. Here, I think you need to stay a little bit longer.
As long as the boss is there, right?
As long as the boss is there. I don't need to deal with stuff like that. So that's...
So you're not, worried about standing by the water cooler and getting the information?
Getting the information.
Talking bad about the boss?
Goss. No, nothing like that. As soon as I get to my desk, I start working. Because I'm sitting there all day, I get really tired, my back aches and hurts and stuff. But, that's all part of the job, I think. Yeah, I talk a lot.
Yeah, I like to get started right away in the morning. I'll jump up and go to the computer and check my email in my underwear. But I don't have a schedule like most people.
Yeah, I have unwashed hair, I'm in my pajamas and I'm sitting in front of the computer having a coffee or something. Yeah, that's my work day. That's how I start my work day.
Okay. Yeah, I think the best way to work is just with your own passion.
Are you doing something that you're passionate about?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
I'm a writer. Okay, let's get to work.
All right.
Well, today's actual talk was between Peter and Joanne, and they are both freelancers. So they freelance, so I guess their conversation could be a bit different from yours if you do have a regular job, starting at a certain time and finishing at a certain time as well. Now, I myself, I'm also a freelancer, so my schedule changes each day of the week, and perhaps my schedule is quite different depending on the week as well. As for me, on Mondays and Fridays, I focus on doing a lot of recording works, such as voiceovers here and there at different studios. And then on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I do have a regular job that I go to. So that's pretty much my days at work. It's quite different each day of the week. Anyhow, let's take a look at what they talked about line by line. In the beginning, Peter said, "Don't you just love to work?" So if we take a look at the first sentence, or rather the first question, Peter begins by saying, he says, "Don't you just love to work?" This can be, I guess, said in a positive and a negative way. If it's said in a positive way, it can be said such as, "I'm a bit of a workaholic." So if you enjoy working, you can say, "Hey, don't you just love to work?" But you can also say it in a negative way by being sarcastic. If you really hate to work, you can say, "Don't you just love to work?" "Oh, I hate to work." Anyhow, now here Peter sounds like he really enjoys what he does, so he's very optimistic, he's happy about it, and he says, "Don't you just love to work?" I'm a bit of a workaholic, which means you love to work. You are devoted to working. You dedicate a lot of your time to working. And he says, I enjoy what I do. I enjoy what I do for a living. In other words, I enjoy my job. Now, Joanne says, people call me a bit of a perfectionist. So we've got two words, a workaholic and a perfectionist. Peter is a workaholic, which means he loves to work. He's constantly working, okay, because he enjoys working. And Joanne is a perfectionist. Rather, people call her a perfectionist. One simple way of putting this in Korean is 완벽주의자. That's a perfectionist. A perfectionist needs things to be done a certain way. They're very picky about certain things and they have high standards or high expectations to the things they do. So I am a bit of a perfectionist too. Not a complete perfectionist, but I'm slightly a perfectionist too. Now, Joanne says, I start my day anytime I want. That's right. You can say this if you are a freelancer. If you don't have a 9-to-5 job, you can say, I start my day anytime I want, okay? Except for during the middle of the day when or where I have a live show to go to. So Joanne, she has a live show to go to, okay? So she does radio, for instance, and every other day, all the other days, well, she can start her workday anytime she wants to, except for the days or the times she has a live show, okay? Moving on. Now, Joanne continues by saying, I need to get there. Get there meaning possibly a radio station, right? Get there on time, meaning not late. You have to be there for the show by a certain time, on time. But apart from that, I'm constantly on the go. On the go means you're moving around, okay? I'm constantly on the go. I'm constantly moving around or moving from one place to another. She has lots of translation work that I do at my desk or on the bus. So here, let's take a look at this expression here. At one's desk. At one's desk, what does that mean? When you want to talk about the things you do at your office or in front of the computer, you can say, I have a lot of work to do at my desk. At my desk, meaning sitting at your desk, okay? So she has lots of translation work that I do at my desk or on the bus because she's on always or constantly moving around on the go. Now, Peter asks, so you don't have a daily routine? That's right. Remember, I said, what is a daily routine? Daily, things that you do on a daily basis, meaning every single day. And routine means what? Things you do regularly. So, things you do every day on a regular basis. Well, as for Joanne, her schedule is different every day, right? So, I guess she would say no. No daily routine. That's right. Okay. But she says, I get a coffee on my way to the radio station when I can. So she's mentioning this because she almost always does this. I have no daily routine, but I get a coffee on my way to the radio station when I can. I normally do this. Peter asks, okay, what about your parents? Okay, since she doesn't have a daily routine or a routine activity that she does every day at work or during the day, he asks about her parents. And he says, do they have a kind of normal or regular work schedule? And Joanne says, my dad has a normal work schedule. Okay, meaning it's probably a 9-to-5 job. It's a 9-to-5 or 9-to-6. And of course, job is omitted, okay? So for example, if you go to the office to work and you start work at 9 o'clock, and if you finish work at 5 o'clock, you can call that a 9-to-5 job or a 9-to-6 job even. That's a general job. that everyone has, okay? So if you have a normal work day or a normal job, you would probably say, I have a 9 to 5 job. So she's saying that her father has a normal work schedule. He starts at 9 and finishes at 5, or starts at 9 and finishes at 6. So in that case, once again, you can say it's 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. Back in Australia, let's talk about Australia. She says it's spot on. Spot on. Spot on means accurate, exact, punctual, okay? And she says they get there at 9 and finish at 5, meaning people get to work at 9 and finish at 5 o'clock. Here, meaning here in Korea, I think you need to stay a little bit longer. I think that is the case in Korea. Even if you have a 9 to 5 job, in many cases, you do have to stay longer, right? Work overtime even sometimes. And then Peter says, as long as the boss is there, right? Yes, as long as the boss is there, a lot of people can't leave their office. Even if you're finished with work, you sometimes have to wait until the boss leaves, right? So that's what they are talking about. Now, Joanne says, I don't need to deal with stuff like that. I don't have to worry about stuff like that. So she says, as soon as I get to my desk, meaning as soon as I sit at my desk, I start working, or I start to work is what she says. Now, Peter says, I like to get started right away in the morning. I'll jump up, okay? Remember, I said use verbs that have a speedy or a quick definition to it. I jump up, meaning I do something very quickly, right? I jump up and go to the computer, meaning I wake up in the morning and very quickly go to my computer and check my email in my underwear. Okay, in my underwear, basically meaning wearing my underwear. He's saying before even getting changed, the first thing he does when he wakes up in the morning is, right, jumps up, very quickly goes to the computer and checks his email in the clothes he's wearing, which possibly is his underwear. He says, but I don't have a schedule like most people. See, I don't have a work schedule or a normal work schedule like most people. Joanne says, yeah, usually I have unwashed hair. Meaning, usually I don't wash my hair in the mornings, I guess. I'm in my pajamas as well. Peter says that he's usually in his underwear, right? Undergarment, underwear. Joanne says, I'm in my pajamas, meaning I'm wearing my pajamas. 잠옷, that is. I'm sitting in front of the computer having a coffee or something. That's how I start my workday. So she's talking about how she starts her workday. Now, they each talked about what they do in the morning because they don't necessarily have to go to an office, right? Once again, they are freelancers. So they don't have a routine or a regular schedule that they have to abide by or follow every day. Rather, they wake up and do things differently. But Peter mentioned that he wakes up in the morning, he rushes to the computer and checks his email first thing in the morning in his underwear, whereas Joanne says she usually wakes up in the morning and before even washing her hair, she's in her pajamas and she sits in front of the computer with a cup of coffee. And that's how they each start their work days. Okay, everyone, have a listen one more time.
Don't you just love to work?
You can't be serious.
I'm a bit of a workaholic, so really I enjoy what I do.
People call me a bit of a perfectionist, which is not a good quality to have when you're constantly working. Yeah, I start my day anytime I want, basically, except for during the middle of the day where I actually have a live show to go to. I need to get there on time, but apart from that, I'm constantly on the go. Lots of translation work that I do at my desk or on the bus or anywhere like that. Yeah, so...
So you don't have a daily routine?
No daily routine as such, but I do need to get a coffee on my way to the radio station when I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about your parents? Do they have kind of a normal work schedule?
Oh, my dad has a normal work schedule. It's 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. Back in Australia, it's spot on. They get there at 9 and it finishes at 5. Here, I think you need to stay a little bit longer.
As long as the boss is there, right?
As long as the boss is there. I don't need to deal with stuff like that. So that's...
So you're not, worried about standing by the water cooler and getting the information?
Getting the information.
Talking bad about the
inside
boss.
goss. No, nothing like that. As soon as I get to my desk, I start working. Because I'm sitting there all day, I get really tired, my back aches and hurts and stuff. But, that's all part of the job, I think. Yeah, I talk a lot.
Yeah. I like to get started right away in the morning. I'll jump up and go to the computer and check my email in my underwear. But I don't have a schedule like most people.
Yeah, I have unwashed hair, I'm in my pajamas, and I'm sitting in front of the computer having a coffee or something. Yeah, that's my work day. That's how I start my work day.
Okay. Yeah, I think the best way to work is just with your own passion.
Are you doing something that you're passionate about?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
I'm a writer. Okay, let's get to work.
All right.
Welcome back, everyone. Here we go with today's vocab. The first vocab we have for you is workaholic. I'm sure you know what workaholic means, but just in case, let me let you know other ways of using aholic or holic as well. Workaholic, it's rather a g sound, so it's not workaholic, it's workaholic. Workaholic, and let's see, hyphen A-H-O-L-I-C, or often just a hyphen H-O-L-I-C. It means that you are addicted to something. You really enjoy doing a certain activity. You're always constantly doing it. So a workaholic is a person that's always working very hard and you enjoy working. What about chocoholic? Okay, choco plus holic here. It means you love chocolate, okay? You're addicted to chocolate. What about here? Shopaholic means you're addicted to shopping. You love to shop, okay? So make use of aholic or just holic. What is also a perfectionist? I told you what it means. The pronunciation is perfectionist, perfectionist. Everything has to be perfect. Okay, and what about spot on? Spot on, I told you, some synonyms are accurate, exact, or even punctual. Okay, spot on, spot on. Okay, spot on is the correct pronunciation. Schedule I've included here because it is not a difficult word, but as we can see, we have the British pronunciation as well. In American English, we say schedule, schedule, schedule or schedule, okay? But in British English, you will often hear them say schedule, schedule, and they're talking about schedule. So don't get confused. In American English, we say schedule. There's a schedule. In British English, as you can see, it's S-H-E-D. It's schedule, schedule. And one more, pajamas, pajamas, nightwear, 잠옷, right? It's either pajamas or pajamas. Pajamas, pajamas. And some other words are jammies. This is just a cute way of saying it. Kids wear jammies to sleep, or even nightie is also a cute way of saying it. And a shorter form of pajamas is P from P and J from jamas. It's PJs. You can tell your kid next time, honey, put your PJs on. Put your PJs on, meaning put your pajamas on. Okay, now let's take a look at some patterns. We've got 3 for you today. The first one is, I start my day at or in and then time of day. A sample sentence is, I start my day at 9 sharp, meaning at exactly 9 o'clock. Ding, 9 o'clock. 정각 means sharp. I start my day at 9 sharp. One more time. I start my day at 9 sharp. What about this? I start my day in the early afternoon. If you cannot specify the exact time, you can mention the time of the day or around when, right? So you can say, I start my day in the early afternoon. I start my day in the early morning hours. Okay. Another pattern is I need to get there, meaning I need to get to my office, I need to get to my school, I need to get to classes by or time of day. The by can be there or often can be omitted as well. For example, you can say, I need to get there by at least 8:30. By at least 8:30, okay? I need to get there by a certain time. I need to get there before noon. See, the by is omitted, right? So if you're not going to mention a specific time, you can leave the by out and say, I need to get there before noon. I need to get there as early as possible. Okay, and here is our last pattern. Get there at a certain time and finish at a certain time. Okay, so you can say, I get there at 9 and finish at around 6. So get there, meaning arrive at 9 and finish at around 6. At around meaning approximately. Not exactly, but approximately, roughly 6 o'clock. And here's one last one. He gets there. He arrives at a certain place before 9 and finishes at noon. Okay. Just be aware that you should add the at and the at before a certain time, okay? Such as he gets there at 9 or before 9 or by 9 and finishes at a certain time as well. Okay, what is your workday like, everyone? When do you start work and when do you finish work? Try making a sentence right here, right now, and that is a wrap for today's actual expressions.
My daily routine, my daily work routine starts in the afternoons. So I arrive at work usually after lunch. I try to eat before I arrive, but if not, I'll grab something on the way. I have to arrive half an hour before classes start in order to plan all my lessons. So when I get there, I get a glass of water and I start looking at all the books I have to teach that day. So I'll go through the books and plan some activities for the kids, and I'll try to relax before they come in, because when they come in, it's always very hectic. So I try to get relaxed and comfortable before they arrive so that my mood is better when I'm teaching. The only thing that can be frustrating is if they don't listen, but usually I have a good day. And then once my last class is finished, I tidy up the classroom and go home.
Well, thanks to Emma once again for letting us know what her day at work is like. Now, yesterday we found out about her mornings, what she usually does in the mornings, and today she told us about her work day, when she gets to work, what she does at work, and how and when she finishes. Let's take a look. Now, there are a few things she mentioned, and I have selected about 4 sentences from the actual story, so let's take a look together. She said, my daily work routine, okay, my daily work routine starts in the afternoons, okay? So now we know when her workday starts, in the afternoons. So she arrives at work. When? Usually after lunch, okay? So if she were to be specific about the time she arrives, she could have said, I arrive at work at 9 o'clock. I arrive at work at 1 o'clock. But she's saying roughly around or approximately what time after lunch. So she could say, I arrive at work, usually after lunch, okay? I have to arrive half an hour before classes start, okay? Because she is a teacher. Why? In order to plan all my lessons. So she makes sure that she gets to her workplace, her class, in advance, at least 30 minutes before classes start, so that she can make preparations. Okay, one more. I'll go through the books. Go through something Perhaps she's talking about reading through something, reviewing things, and plan activities. And then she says, I'll try to relax before they come in. They meaning the students. So she's talking about before the students arrive, before they come to class. She goes through the books. She plans activities for them and she tries to relax. Take some time off or perhaps take a break with a cup of coffee before the students come to class. One last sentence from the actual story. And then, once my last class is finished, last class, I tidy up, meaning organize the classroom and go home. So interesting. That is her day at her workplace, at school perhaps. So now we know more about Emma. I would love to find out more about you, and that is to come in our next lesson, everyone. Well, have a listen to it one more time.
My daily routine, my daily work routine starts in the afternoons. So I arrive at work usually after lunch. I try to eat before I arrive, but if not, I'll grab something on the way. I have to arrive half an hour before classes start in order to plan all my lessons. So when I get there, I get a glass of water and I start looking at all the books I have to teach that day. So I'll go through the books and plan some activities for the kids, and I'll try to relax before they come in because when they come in, it's always very hectic. So I try to get relaxed and comfortable before they arrive so that my mood is better when I'm teaching. The only thing that can be frustrating is if they don't listen, but usually I have a good day. And then once my last class is finished, I tidy up the classroom and go home.
Well, today we learned some ways to talk about your day at work, talking about when you arrive at work, the things you do at work, and perhaps when you finish work and go home. Now, Emma told us about her day at work. Now, once again, I do stress that Peter's story, Joanne's story, my story, our stories can be quite different from yours if you do have a 9-to-5 job or perhaps a 9-to-6 job, which is the general work day for a lot of people. A normal job, I guess. So unless you are a freelancer, yes, make use of all the phrases and the expressions we learned today. I start at a certain time and finish at a certain time. Okay? Well, take a listen to the actual talk many times as well as the actual story and try to relax as you do so. Don't just focus on memorizing and learning things. Just enjoy listening, everyone. And sooner or later, those vocab words, expressions, and phrases will become yours very naturally. Next time, I'll join you again and we'll talk about in the evenings. So let's talk about what people do in general in the evenings, and perhaps our next lesson will help you talk about your evenings as well. In the meantime, come to our homepage at www.ebse.co.kr. You know what to do. Look for Actual English with Jennifer and come by to say hello. You're always welcome to do so. That's a wrap. I'll catch you again next time. Bye, everyone.